Hello, my name is Terrell Harris, one half of the leadership team of the Open Box, where our vision is to make wholeness more accessible. Today's message comes from Genesis chapter 28, or chapter 29, verses 18 through 20, and it reads as follows. Jacob loved Rachel, so he said, I will serve you for 7 years for your younger daughter Rachel. Laban said, it is better that I give her to you than that I should give her to another man. Stay with me. So Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed to him but a few days because of the love he had for her. Today's message is entitled, Are you willing to put in the hard work in order to receive a spouse? What we see in this segment of Genesis is that Jacob has traveled he's left home and he was sent off by his father to his uncle's house. On his way to his uncle's house, he has a vision or a dream from God that he will have a huge or a vast amount of ancestors. So in this particular part of this story, what happens is Jacob shows up to where Laban is staying, and he sees Rachel at a well, and automatically he falls in love with her. It's like love at first sight. So in the relationship that Jacob ends up having with his uncle becomes a working relationship where Jacob actually just serves. So after 1 month, Laban feels a certain way. Jacob has been putting in a lot of good work, and he says, you know what, I can't have a relative of mine actually, do this work that you're doing and not pay you. So what do you want in return? So they make an agreement. After 7 years of labor, Jacob will receive Rachel as a wife. And what happens is, after the 7 years of work, Jacob thinks he's going to receive Rachel as a wife. They have a feast, they have a ceremony, but what Laban decides to do is he decides to give Jacob his younger or his older daughter Leah first. So it's nighttime. Jacob cannot see, so what happens is they sneak Leah into the bed, and Jacob ends up having a sex with her. So when he wakes up in the morning, Jacob's like, wait, what exactly did you do to me? Because this is not what we agreed. So after some negotiating, Laban says, you know what, after a week you can have Rachel, but it's my custom that we don't actually give over our younger daughters first. We give over our older daughters. So, the customs and traditions that are happening in Genesis are quite different than the time we actually live in. So after the week, he receives Rachel, but there's a catch. He has to put in an additional 7 years of labor in order to have Rachel as a wife. So in total, Jacob has to work over 14 years to be with the one he originally wanted to be with. So what does that say to us about receiving our spouse or actually being blessed with a spouse or a husband or a wife? So for some of us, we'll meet our soulmates naturally. We may meet, whether it's in the park, in the library. It'll seem magical, and it'll seem like a blessing has fallen out the sky. For others of us, we may be placed in a position where we're wondering where this spouse is going to come from. We've tried so many things, we've dated, and things are just not happening for us. So let me tell you my personal story. So for me, I, of course, have been dating. I thought I actually mastered a way to meet people because I became pretty crafty in terms of going out, when I used to go out. So, but none of that stuff I did or none of the stuff I came up with in a club situation or a party atmosphere actually worked. I would get hooked up by some of my friends with their friends. That stuff wasn't working. So for me, nothing was happening. I wasn't meeting anybody. All my friends were getting married, and nothing was happening for me. And I was thinking, I'm a pretty good dude, so why exactly haven't I met my spouse yet? So I remember being at our church, our former church, which at that particular time probably had between 6,000 and maybe 7,000 members. Somebody approached me with the opportunity to serve in the singles ministry, and I was already serving in ministry in the capacity of, I actually did audio and video. So this is way before the open box stuff and any ideas the seminary had came to me. So I agreed to do it, and I wasn't necessarily interested too much, but it gave me the opportunity to become creative and then serve in another leadership format. So I did decide to do it, and out of that, I actually met my wife, Brooke, because she wasn't a part of the singles ministry, but we met at one meeting, and we had backwards and forth dialogue about some activities of singles ministry we're doing. So I had no intentions on meeting anybody. I had no intentions on hollering at anybody. What happened is, because I was faithful to the call to serve, I actually met Brooke. So now, if I didn't or wasn't faithful to that call to serve, who knows if I would have met Brooke. Like I said, the church was roughly 6 to 7 or 8,000 people at that time. It would have been very random for me to meet her, and we had only seen each other a couple of times prior to that. So it might have been a large chance that I missed out on the opportunity to be blessed and to have a spouse. So for us, or for the people who are single who are watching this video, what has God been calling you to do? Is God calling you to do some tasks? Maybe God is actually telling you need to complete a few things prior to being blessed with the spouse that you so desire. And if there are tasks, are you actually willing and ready to put in the work? And are you willing and ready to put in hard work for this major blessing that you're about to receive in your life? So just remember, looking at the story, Jacob had to work 14 years, and he was tricked, and he had, he went through a lot, because let's be clear, working on a farm or working in the conditions that he worked in, especially in that particular time, would have been very rough. So he wasn't going through easy labor. So is God calling you, or review your life and ask yourself, is God calling you to do something special, or have you been avoiding what God has been calling you to do as it relates to serving? It doesn't have to be ministry. It doesn't have to be preaching. It could be helping people. It could be speaking words of encouragement to other people. It actually could be something as simple as just working on yourself by yourself. So what exactly is God calling you to do that you have been ignoring? And is there anything that God is calling you to do that you're not doing wholeheartedly? Consider this. In order to be blessed and receive the blessings that God has for you, do God's work. And in doing God's work, what you also have to do is put God as a priority, and also place God's work as a priority. And you'll be surprised. There's a good possibility that you'll be blessed just like I was. Peace and blessings. I hope this message served you. Let us end in a word of prayer. God, we thank you for the opportunity to come and hear your word today. We ask that you, for those who are watching this video that are single, we ask that you reveal to them things that need to be accomplished, tasks that you have on their list that you would like to do in order to prepare them for their spouses. We also ask that you are able to speak to them and be with them and comfort them as they walk in their singleness. We ask that you have them realize that singleness is not a curse, that it is a blessing. And we ask that you also prepare them for the journey that they're about to be on, and that when they find their spouse, that they actually are willing to share the amazing story and amazing ways that you bless them. This we ask in your son's name. Amen. Peace and blessings. I'm out. Y'all have a good one.